Welcome to Modern Homestead, Alaska. I'm Jessica, and today we face the end of the Every Bit Counts challenge. Won't you join me for a final walkthrough? I have an announcement. If you have been with our channel for a long time, you are so appreciated. If you found us through this channel, in this challenge, I want to welcome you. Thank you for choosing to join this family. Thank you for walking along with me through the last month of the challenge, and thank you for being part of what we have done. I would have done these things on the homestead during this last month regardless, but the fact that I got to share it with each of you and that you chose to join me is incredibly humbling. So I want to just start the video out by saying thank you for choosing to show up, choosing to click on the videos, and then choosing to stay and be part of this channel. I am so grateful to each and every one of you. Let's get into the final garden. We are going to begin the tour on the far northeast corner of the garden, and then we will check out the greenhouses in just a second, and then we will look at where we ended up. I started on the opposite end of the garden, so I thought, yep, let's go backwards this go around. Starting right over here, this is a weird little garden area, and it's easiest to see it from where we're at. We are actually growing shelling peas. Would you believe it? I have been stealing some of them and snacking out of them, but they grew up fantastic on this fence. This is some temporary fencing. That there is permanent fencing, but the temporary fencing by the greenhouses just keeps the dogs out. And then moving on, this is how all the sunflowers ended up. These ones we did not tie back, whereas that whole row over there we did tie back. So they're a little haphazard, a little wonky, a little bit falling over, and a little bit actually starting to bloom. There's a spider. Must like spiders. That's a joke. I don't actually like spiders, but we don't have any poisonous ones here, and so you get over your fear very quickly, because it feels like everywhere you reach and everything you do, there are spiders everywhere in Alaska. Here we go. This was our, Aaron loves to say, knee-high by the 4th of July garlic bed and onion bed, and it was completely harvested in this video. Sorry about the background noise. Some people a few lots over seem to be moving and doing stuff. This was our potatoes. Well, still is the potatoes. We're still not going to harvest them yet. They're fine in the ground, even if some of the plants are dying back and the potatoes aren't growing. Not a big deal, but some of the plants are still doing really fantastic. And when it got knocked over in the storm, we just flipped it back, and then some new started to grow, and then some is looking like it needs to get dug out, and so we're just gonna let this die back a lot further, but they don't look nearly as fantastic as they did in the opening garden tour. This specific potato plant right in here are the ones that we grew from a potato seed just a couple of years ago, and we also on that side are the ones that my neighbor gave me, and so I think it's gonna be so fun to finally get to dig this special little area of the bed, and I hope you'll be around to see that soon. I went ahead and looked some fun facts up for you. We have about a 20% chance that by August 30th, that's today, that we would have our first frost. We have not had our first frost. We have a 50% chance of first frost by September 9th, so just a few short days from now. 80% chance by September 19th, and moving forward from there, the odds are somewhere around September 19th. There is no way that we will not have had our first frost. So we have literally less than half of a month to finish out our entire Alaska garden. And then here is going to be one of the first things that will absolutely go when we do get them. This is our zucchini, squashes, and pumpkins row. And the zucchinis have been pretty prolific, the outside ones. We had to cull all of the ones that we grew inside the greenhouse. That's not the way to grow them up here. And then we've actually managed to grow a few pumpkins in the last month. So this bed is still doing great, and we're gonna give it until it's very last minute. But what I may do is go through here and start culling this, and then also allowing all of the energy to go into what pumpkins and squashes have started, because an additional 19 days to those would be really, really helpful. I just walked through a spider web. At the end here was collard greens. And then this is the kale. The kale I'm going to be pulling today, and this whole end of the bed will be done and gone. And then here is what I'm talking about. There is quite a few pumpkins in here. How cute are those? And we want to give all of these an opportunity, and we can convince the plant to put its energy towards those by cutting off whatever grows beyond that. Believe it or not, there's a full walkway here. It is just completely gone. Two things. You're gonna see a tomatillo over there. It never produced, and I think part of that is because you have to cross-pollinate with those, and there's no other tomatillos out in the garden. And then here was our Brussels sprouts. They really didn't make Brussels sprouts again. Yet again, we had an issue. And then here was all of the broccoli that we harvested. The rest we let go to seed. And as I stand here, I hear and see the buzzing of all of the bees that have done wonderful. The side of this bed is also full of kohlrabi. The cauliflowers, we only have a handful of cauliflowers left. And then the chaos plant of carrots. We're not gonna harvest the carrots until last minute, but yep, I'm seeing that is something that's growing down there. Weird, like a little mushroom. Little heads, a couple of little heads of cauliflower. These will do great. They like the weather right now. They will make it through the next. That's a nice big head. That's a nice head. Look at that. It's a beautiful head. And then the bees. I love all the marigolds at the ends of the beds. This one is on her last leg, but she'll leave behind a seed pod for me. And the flowers did fantastic all the way through. Holy. We pulled a few of the cabbages from this side, and we made some sauerkraut, found my word. And then we still have root vegetables in this garden bed that need to be pulled, but we will give them some time. They were a little bitter, but look down here. All of this is going to end up being harvested. Everything grew so big. this bunch here that we did pull, it all went to seed. But look at these. Look at the beauty of these. And then look at this. The rutabagas. Look at that. They're huge down there. And then look at even the little cabbages. What beautiful heads. The cabbage is so beautiful. Look at the size of some of those. I just love it. Due to the harvest time of this bed and the way that it worked, what I think I'm gonna do next year is, instead of putting like broccoli and kohlrabi and those things next to the squashes, which they do fine, I'm gonna do something like the radishes, because what it would have done is what's happened here, and that is really open up some space. So it's easy for me to walk along here, because out of this whole section, we harvested all of the beets and then the greens and the salads and the spinaches and such. And then everything is just some onions down there at the end. This whole bed we harvested a little bit early. It was onions and carrots. And so I have this massive walk space. So the celery is gonna go today with the kale. But because I was able to clean all of this up early, I have space. So just imagine if you had the squash on one side and then something that you cleared on the other fairly early, then it gives the squash a place to spill over. I am 5'8" tall. This is a celery stalk that I've let go to seed. I have 2 of them. The rest of the celery is fine. I pull it out and put it in recipes. I think I'm gonna let these 2 go just until they're done. There's little seeds starting to develop at the top. I've never seen a celery stalk go to seed. The size around of this thing is bigger than what the artichokes are. And so it is just so fascinating to me to see what happens. I don't know that I'd ever seen it. It's nearly as tall as I am. What a beautiful thing. This plant next year will put out this giant blue flower, and it will just be so beautiful. And it comes back, it will overwinter here. I know because it did so in the other experimental bed. And then over here is a ton of forget-me-nots. It's like a head of lettuce the size of this plant, and then the forget-me-nots shoot up and out of it. It's unbelievable. Where is it even at? I planted this from seed, and this will come back every year, and this is Alaska state flower. So I will simply transplant the flowers out of here, or even someplace else in the garden where they would be allowed to continue to grow happily. They're just so happy. They're so big and they are so beautiful. I'm just fascinated at the size things will get up here in Alaska. Our one lonely bean plant is covered in flowers. I think I saw one green bean. I grew one green bean, friends, just one. And it's tiny. So not everything goes according to plan. And then here is my wall of peas. So these are snap peas, not shelling peas. Look at the size of this one. This has been the most fantastic garden snack wall. This is exactly what we wanted, and it just happened so late. Look at these ones. Why are they so beautiful? And I wanted it to, it almost reached the top. So if These I had worked, hang on. If you work these over, they would have done that a little bit earlier. They would have actually gone over here. So we got to have something that does better there. And maybe next year put something on this side so they can meet in the middle. What was I thinking? Putting that in my mouth between shoots? Sugar. One of the most fascinating things to happen was that I grew all of these artichokes. They are so fun, so exciting. Look at that. Look at that. And then they just keep shooting off. Like, what a fantastic, fun thing. Look at this tiny little guy. Look at him. So cute. Look, I didn't realize they would put, that will be an artichoke if it had enough time. That is so fun. And then we have two at the other end of the bed. Go through our pea wall, grab a snack. So this end, this one's this tiny. Look at that. He just was tiny. And that one super, oops. Friend, stay there. That one is great, but it's super leaned over. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, even the leaves are weird looking. It's so crazy. It's like a medieval looking plant. I think it's wonderful. However, the ones at that side of the garden get just a little bit different sun, different everything. They did a little bit better, and so that's something to document for sure. Would you look at my sunflower wall? I stepped over here so that we could enjoy it. We do have some flowers, lots of them. I don't know that they'll have enough time to fully open up before, but it's almost fall. And what a beautiful sight. We are gonna leave those. We'll let them just die completely back. I will not pull them out of the ground. At least that's not the goal. The goal is to leave them and just let them do their own thing all the way to the end, because as everything dies back, I love looking out here and seeing them. So it did what I wanted, which was cover the white. However, they didn't bloom early enough, and so I think I need to look back of when I seed started them and start them a little bit earlier, and then get them out in the ground earlier than I did everything. But the idea of having all these low ones, could you imagine if everything would have opened up at the same time? This whole bottom row would have been like this giant amount like that. That's an open one. All these sunflowers, if they had all opened up, even down here, there's little tiny short ones. And then you go all the way, I can't even get the camera to the height of that sunflower. Even this one. Look at, it's like a multi-head. See how many flowers it has? They're so, we'll reach up. You're on a stilt, friend. Look at that. And then this one that had bloomed and been like that one was the most incredible color. The orange and red and gold, like it just shined. Just so amazing. The sunflowers are a definite figure this out, because I think the vision of a wall of sunflowers would have been just to die for. Like in the beginning of the month, if they would have all been like this and we watched them bloom. So note to self, start everything about a month earlier on the sunflowers. They don't like transplanting, but that doesn't mean you can't transplant them. And just like squashes don't like transplanting, but the only way to get them up here is to seed start them and transplant them. And then the other thing is to tie them up and give them support. Do not just let them do their own thing, because when they do their own thing, they weigh so much they tip over. How tall do you think that one is? So the greenhouse is 8 foot. And even from this angle, that thing has to be 11 or 12 foot tall. No exaggeration. Some of these are, that is insane. That is one of the craziest things I've ever done. All right, we'll start in the north greenhouse. This is the tomatillo greenhouse. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they just need a little more time or what the case is. They're full of husks, full of flowers. We vibrated and did all the things that work for the tomatoes. They're starting to die back. They're starting to yellow. And I really don't have any tomatillos yet to harvest. So they reached the ceiling. So they're 8 foot tall. And just absolutely beautiful to look at. See, they're full of these husks, but the husks are empty. Hello. Anywho, we worked together on the tomatoes here, and I just want to show you how much fruit that they have put on. These need a little more time. They have a super long growing cycle, and they are doing really, really well. However, it's going to be days, if not another month, before these are done. Look at that. They're all producing so much fruit. And then we take off the leaves so that they get good airflow. We're not having too terribly many issues in this greenhouse. The one down here is kind of a different kind of tomato. Look at that. Look at that vine. That is so beautiful to see. At the beginning of the month, the whole sides here were the squashes and the zucchinis and such that we culled, and then we moved all of the peppers up. I have a ton of peppers starting to finally, we may actually get them. They will be one of the last things to. Let's go back and look here. There's something. See? Little peppers. These are completely covered. Oh, look. Look at that. What kind of pepper is that? I don't have any idea. But we got a whole pepper. And then tons of little ones starting. This greenhouse is warmer than the other greenhouse, and it gets more sun than the other one did. And so I think that's why it has simply done better. We also didn't get a bug problem in this one that we had to address. And then every time the bug problem is addressed in there, we get a new one. So this is the south greenhouse, and I just call it that because it's south of the other greenhouse. The tomatoes, I gotta open this all the way so you can get a full look. All right, look at that. They're over 8 foot tall in the center. And right here at the front, whatever variety this is, has huge amounts of tomatoes on it. So look at these. I can't even count because they're just huge amounts of tomatoes in there. The peppers are again getting ate by something. Oh, it's not been fun. Look at this. Tomatoes. Tomatoes. So the tomato plants are beautiful and healthy. So whatever has plagued the peppers has not plagued the tomatoes in this greenhouse, and they have just been able to withstand and stay healthy throughout the entire season. However, we do have a couple of peppers we have been able to recoup. And then something I learned, I will not ever put the bags on the ground again. I will have these raised up because they're wicking moisture. The bag wicks up the moisture that comes into the greenhouse from the amount of rain that we get. And so the peppers don't dry out like they should. That also helps them not be able to fight as well. They're still covered in ladybugs. And even with 2 releases of live ladybugs, they cannot keep up with whatever it is. But we do have a few peppers we're going to be able to get. So then the plant starts to bounce back, looks healthy. And then, see, here's a live little ladybug. She's just trying to save the plant. Thank you, ladybugs. The little jalapenos there. See, like, this is new growth. Like, the peppers are finally starting to grow, and now it's the end of the season. They're finally fighting back. They're finally able to do what needed to be done. Although we do have a couple of deformed looking peppers back there. Wish you would. So all in all, it has been a fantastic month. This is not over yet. Alaska still is going to push through for just a few more days, a couple more weeks, in order to give us that final harvest. So even though the month has drawn to an end and we have done an incredible amount of work in preserving, fall has quickly been upon us. It has been brought to our doorstep, so to speak, and I am feeling excited. I am so looking forward to the next season. I am so looking forward to the final push, the clean slate, the cleanup of the garden, the look forward to that harvest, being able to pull the squashes and the pumpkins, and just really embracing that next season that is coming. I think if we just take some time and kind of mourn the end of one season with still having a heart that is so excited for the next season that's in front of us. Not always looking towards the next thing, the next big thing, the next big project, the next season, but really looking at the season that we're in and saying, wow, I am just fascinated at how many beautiful flowers and plants are in this garden and what it has done and how it has grown and changed in the first 3 years of gardening. I'm fascinated by the things that have grown and then the things that didn't do so well. I find peace and joy and excitement every single time I am out here. I come out here a ton, no camera, no phone, no one, and just spend time alone amongst my very obnoxious animals, as well as the beauty of what has been created in this space. So I thank you for taking this journey with us through this month. And I hope that you will stick around moving forward, because everything in my heart is literally leaping with joy for the next month that we have in front of us. We have some projects that we really need to finish and focus on. We have hunting season is upon us. It is duck season, and it is also moose hunting season. We've never gotten a moose, so we're hoping and praying that would really sustain our family throughout winter if we could do that. And then we need to finish the barn, do some stuff for the cows, finish some stuff in the chicken coop, and get all of this packed up before winter. So Our chore list in front of us is huge, but our hearts are full of happiness and joy that that season is here. And this one is being put to bed in the next 2 weeks. So I am just heart full of gratitude. I think my final harvest is gonna be to pull the kale. And I will work on the squash today and then take this in. And if I can just deal with this bed, giving the squash a little bit more time to grow back or to finish growing out. It never ceases to amaze me that one project like this takes an entire afternoon. And so I did do a little bit of fertilizer for what is left here in the garden and then in the greenhouses as well. And then I just super cleaned up this whole bed, trimming back all the leaves so that all the energy will go to what few zucchinis and such. See, we're still getting some blossom and rot and so on. And then the pumpkins here we took off because in 1-2 weeks we're not going to get new ones, but these can finish growing. So we're going to leave all of them. And we left enough leaves for them to be getting energy from the sun. And then I started raking and moving stuff to the compost pile, trimmed back the Brussels sprouts. So slowly but surely this garden is finishing up for the season, but it does look amazing. I love how clean and tidy even here at the end things can be. So I'm gonna head in and wrap the kale for the night because it's already after 6. Aaron should be home soon, and then I'll show you how I process the kale in the morning. Well, it is the next day and I still have the giant thing of kale. My day has not gone according to plan. That's all right. We're gonna put this up really, really quickly and I'm gonna show you the simplest way that I deal with kale, because I just love to use it from frozen throughout the year. So it is one of the simplest things. You don't even have to blanch it. You don't have to do any of that. And this is the same way that I do the celery. So yeah, we're gonna get to that, but really quick, I just put away all those freeze-dried ginger and things like that. And so I'm gonna clean up the kitchen, put away a bunch of eggs I just washed, and then you and I are gonna process this bucket of kale. I have 30 minutes. All right, I'm already working. My son was just leaving, so I was talking to him for a minute. So yeah, did you hear that? All right, each thing of kale, most of them are way bigger than this little top one. These are the leftover little scraps ended up on top. So all I do is pull them off. I take the stems, so you can either compost or give them, the chickens will eat them just fine. And I just dice it up. We're going to rinse all of this and dry the kale.
Did I ever tell you that I love my truck?
Yeah, I could hear it start in the video. What's up, buddy?
I got I got coins in my cigarette lighter.
Oh, is it shorting out?
Well, no.
Oh.
But there's coins at the bottom of it. So if I didn't even put anything down there, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Love you, bud.
Love you.
Okay, so I just peel, and there's so much of it. So anything nasty, we're not trying to save. So just like we did with the collards. Oh, that's cute. That was a piece where anyway. All right, so peel them off. We don't want the hard woody stem. That is not very tasty. And then what I like to do is freeze this and just take it by the handful, put it in soups and stews, but mostly smoothies. I love it in a breakfast smoothie. And then anything that you want to kind of cook it in. We have some really, really beautiful, let me show you some really beautiful ones. Down here. Look at how big these. Some of them get just, there we go. Like that's a huge one. Curly kale. All right, so I'm gonna pull these off and stem them, chop all of them up, and I'll bring it back. So now what we do, we have this huge 2 giant bowls of kale. And I put the sink plug in so I can kind of rinse and scrub it a little. So, get the kale rinsing. So now we need to wash it. I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar to the water in hopes of, if there's a little worm or anything on it, that it kind of helps wash the kale a little bit, but it doesn't do much else other than get everything really, really clean. After washing the kale, we're just gonna take it out, a couple of handfuls at a time, and dry it. Our big bowl, I'm gonna do a towel. Too much moisture. We'll roll the kale in the towel here. Just try it a little bit more. Doing this way last year, and it actually works so well. So I'm gonna just take the kale and put it in a brown paper bag, and I put these paper bags in the deep freeze, and when the kale is frozen, I am able to package it up a lot easier, because when it's frozen, it kind of crunches down, whereas I don't want to like take the time and blitz all of the kale up right now. Instead, I'm just gonna take the time to get it frozen, and then from the bag, you could can the greens if you wanted. You could just, a lot of times I just individually put it in like food saver bags and suck the air out, and it gets really, really small. Otherwise, this would take up a ton of room in the freezer. You can can the greens, you can freeze the greens. You could, from there, freeze freeze dry them as well. So fill your freeze dryer trays. There just is so many uses, but the simplest way is just from that brown bag, we're able to go any direction that we want. I did it with the celery. I still had celery at the beginning of the season in a brown bag, and I would just dip in a weekly basis one of the bags, and it lasted. Not the proper way of storing things, however, it totally works. So this is the fastest, simplest way to get the kale put up to where I can deal with it later. So I'm gonna finish this. That is it. Oh, there we have it, friends. So that's a full bag, and this is about half a bag of kale. And I'm just gonna pop in the freezer. I've got the dishes done and a kitchen that will live to see another day. I did stop by today. My grandmother needed my time, and I gave it to her, and then I took her to visit with my mom, and now Aaron's on his way. He just called to get me for a date night, and I went by the Willow Farmers Market, and let me just tell you, it is one of the most fantastic markets I've been to in the state. And I'm not saying that because I have friends there. I just have spent a lot of time trying out all of the different farmers market, and Willow is exceptional. The way the community supports it and how many vendors they have, the liveliness of it, the live music, it was awesome. I picked up a couple of goodies. From one lady, I got this watermelon berries. So it's the watermelon berries that they have up here. Horseradish sauce. She says it's good on pork and stuff. I did try it there. I think Aaron might like that on like a pulled pork sandwich or something. I got some farm fresh peppers. I thought these red peppers were beautiful, and mine haven't come in yet. Hang on, Berto. Another lady made some dill carrots, local Alaskan. Everything came from the lady next to her's yard or her yard, so an Alaska thing. And I stopped by to see my friend Crystal because, like I told you, she had given me a sample shampoo bar. I got the lemongrass one originally. It's real mild. And then I got the mint one. So we're gonna try out the mint shampoo bar as well, and then some of my favorite. She does this cocoa butter mint lip balm. I love it. So that was it. That was my day. I want to show you a couple goodies. Oh, that's a lie. I added these peonies to my bouquet. I got these from a local peony farmer there at the market as well. So thank you those of you who've chosen to join and stay with me all the way to the end of the video. You are so greatly appreciated. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, you'll get notification. Thumbs up and comments all help the channel to grow. Not only that, I hope that you are blessed. I hope you find something to be excited, something to be grateful and thankful for today in your life. And I hope that I catch you in the next video. I do plan to share with you how the pantry ended up. Nope, I don't plan. I'm gonna do it. So stick around. I'm gonna show you how everything ended up in the pantry when we're finished preserving. So bear with me. I'll shoot you out a new video soon. I'll see you later. You guys wanna go outside?